Good evening, everyone. Welcome to my podcast tonight. I'm honored to have a live guest with me, a special guest, a good friend, Gary Smolokoff, lead singer from the West End Dogs. Gary, thanks for joining us tonight and joining me on my podcast. I really appreciate it. How you doing?
It's my pleasure, George. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you. Thanks for
Good to
having me.
hear. Good to hear. So we talked a little bit. We'll get into your guys' schedule. I got into that a little bit before we went on the air, but I can get right into some topics with you. And generally, the first thing I ask everybody is generally the same thing. What got you into music? How did you first become interested in music?
Well, I was about 5 years old when the Sound of Music movie came out. Give you an idea of how old I am, because that was 1965.
Before
And
I was born.
absolutely, before many people were born. But I don't know why, but I went to see that movie about 4 to 5 times. I think it was one of those things like kids would take people to the movies like for their birthday, that kind of thing. My parents took me a couple times, and back then, I thought that movie was amazing, and I didn't know what I was watching, but the geniuses behind the movie and the music were an early start. Let's just put it that way. Um, I'll also add, I fell in love with the Beatles at a very young age. Um, we had the record, I guess when Welcome to, I forget what it was called, but it was one of the first records they came out with, and we used to play it over and over and over again. So much so that there was a scratch in the record, and we thought that was part of the song because it would start repeating. But that's my early love for music, and it's kind of funny that I just I've come to enjoy so many different types of music, um, opera, classical music, uh, electric light orchestra. Any. It's so varied. That's why it's a tough question to even answer. If someone says, "What's your kind of your favorite group?" Because I don't know that I have a favorite group. I have many that I love.
Well, you mentioned opera, and I'm going to jump off of that a little bit about someone close to you, and something all famous people or singers. It runs in the family, it runs in the blood. I want you to tell me about your son and what he's doing because you mentioned you opened the door here for me about opera and how talented he is. So the nut doesn't fall too far from the tree. So talk a little bit about that with us too.
Thank you. Well, every once in a while, some people that know my son say he got his music talent from me, and I always correct them and say, no, no, I kind of got it from him because he's really the singer before I was the singer, and he's classically trained. Went to Juilliard scholarship, and they only take 10 vocal students, give or take, every year.
Wow.
So
Wow.
he's really accomplished, and he's now a professional singer. His main job is a cantor at St. Gabriel's in Marlborough, but he's doing operas throughout the Northeast. He's sung in different parts of the world and things like that. But I'm I'm pretty amazed at his talent. We kind of joke we've never heard a bad note out of David since he was 10 years old. But I think it's interesting that I grew up, and we're going to talk about sports, I'm sure, but I grew up with loving sports, playing all different sports, and David was just not a big sports guy. So we tried to find what he liked, and it quickly became acting and theater and plays and singing. And I have to share one thing. I remember he was about 3 years old, 2, 3 years old, and we were playing opera music, and he's dancing and singing La Traviata, at 2 and 3 years old, and we just saw the joy it was like a double joy because that music is so amazing. If you really break it down, I know a lot of people may not be opera fans, but I really encourage people to look at the some of the top arias because I'm going to say this: if you're not a religious person, um, listening to that music and really getting into it, it almost makes you think that there's got to be a God because it's so beautiful. And I'm so tickled and happy that I get to watch my son perform and learn about voice through him. Um, I'm very proud of him. It's so difficult to make a living as a singer. You know, I'm doing it for fun to make a little bit of money to help, but you know, looking at my son, that's what he does for a living. And he's
Got to be
very,
proud, man. I
yeah,
had to bring that up because you mentioned opera, and I know I you know, one thing I do pretty good at is listen. I know you've talked about it, and you mentioned it. I had to bring it up. Being a parent myself, I wanted you to talk about your son a little bit.
thank you.
Now, you and the Dogs are a great band, and I know in 2020, and I don't know how this works, and maybe you can explain it to me. You guys were voted the best bar band at the Jersey Shore in 2020. How did that go about? How did they decide on that?
Well, we were also named the best bar band by 1057 in 2019. We actually 2 years in a row. 2020 wasn't so big because it was COVID, so it wasn't a big splash after that. But we actually were on the radio with them in 2019, the first year. And you know, admittedly, that's a contest where friends vote, and some friends vote a lot, and we had some friends that voted a lot for us. Um, I kind of wear my emotions on my sleeve, and I'm a very upfront person. I never thought of us as the top bar band per se, but I was proud of enough friends to vote like crazy, and it's kind of similar. The the kid that's on American Idol that from this area, I'm trying to think of his name. Um, he you know, he's wildly talented, but he needed people to vote and vote and vote, and the process, the way they do it, is such that you just need, in that case, you need a ton of people to vote a lot, and you're allowed to vote 50 times for that contest, so it becomes a little bit of a popularity contest, although he's very talented, but you know, I was happy. It's helped us to book some venues, and kind of the nice thing about that is once we get our foot in the door, most venues where we play, the West End Dogs, um, they invite us back. That's a combination of liking us and having enough of an audience to spend money, because it is about the you know, support, and I'm always so thankful. That's another reason I'm glad you had me on today, George, because I'm always looking for ways to expand um, our reach, because we are a different band from a lot of bands. We play a lot of different stuff, and I even tell people, if you don't like the song that we're doing right now, it's okay. The next song that we do might be your favorite song. You know, so.
So to get the name was Jake Thistle. So I had to look that up too.
Oh
So I
yeah, yeah,
forgot.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
went my old age went I went brain dead there too.
Bunch.
So I my understanding is he didn't make it out last night, but you know,
That's right.
just to get there, I mean, I tell this to all you musicians. It's just I admire all of you just to have that talent. I did it when I was younger. I was in the chorus, but man, just I always had a dream of being a drummer, but I couldn't touch that. I watched all you guys, even all your band members. It's just the talent that you all have. And to watch that kid on American Idol, it's not too shabby where how far he went. And you know,
Oh, yeah.
everybody gets you get disappointed, but he's got a lot of talent. I know he sang with a lot of people down here, and I mean, everybody, a lot of people supported him. But you know, hey, look, he's got a lot of talent for sure.
Yeah, and I'll tell you. I mean, people are saying he'll make his way. He got this introduction. He's going to need to work really hard and network and figure out ways. It just doesn't fall on you. You got to kind of make it happen. And that's how when I talk to my son David about this, being in this business, it's so fun watching him, because now he's out seeking different parts in different parts of the country and the world, and getting the right management to help with that. Um, but you kind of got to be like a salesman. And the good thing for David is his dad, me, I am a salesman. That's all I've done for 44 years until I retired last year. But I'm still selling. I'm selling my band. I'm selling uh, my kids on the right thing to do. Um, but I just want to say I'm also very proud of my other two kids. They're wonderful. Um, Dean, my youngest, our surprise baby, um, is just so incredible with the way he is, the way he treats people. All my kids treat people the right way. And my daughter with two grandkids, I'm so proud of her. She's a nurse, and I love that because when you figure out what you want to do in your life, it's nice to find something that helps people. And that's what she's doing every day. And I'm sure she's wonderful. She's actually doing labor and delivery at the
Wow.
Jersey Shore. And I got to tell you, I think if you're giving birth, you want Gemma to be by your side because she's very, very astute and smart and also beautiful, I might add. Yeah. So
There wouldn't be enough epidural for me to have a kid. I couldn't. I have no pain tolerance. That's I'd be
yeah,
asking for I'd be asking for tons of epidural.
me neither.
So Gary, the West End Dogs.
Yep.
What's the story behind the name of your band? How did you come up with the West End Dogs?
Well, it's funny. I live in West End, which is a part of Long Branch, and when we started the band, it's kind of interesting. I was in another band, and what happens sometimes with bands, there's disagreements and whatnot, and I found myself no longer in that band. And then and to be honest, it was the first band that I was in, and I was crushed when this all went down because I thought I started late in life. I started bands when I was 52 years old,
Wow.
and that's what 14 years ago. And that band was pretty good. It was called Taste This. And when the band disbanded, I thought I was done. And I remember at the gym, I saw one of my friends, Dan Cudney, who's in a band now called Plan A.
Yeah,
Um,
Dan.
yeah, and Dan and I were talking, and he says, Gary, now's your chance. You can do what you want. You can do songs that you want. You can start something. So together, he and I started the West End Dogs. And I named it. I just thought it sounded cool, the idea West End in England with all that stuff.
Right, right.
West End here, which is kind of a hot spot to live. That's one of the spots where Bruce laid his beginnings, um, and it just rolled off the tongue well. West End Dogs.
What is the turnover rate like? You said you were in a band, you got out of it. What is it? I mean, you've had numerous. How many people have you turned over in the West End Dogs? I mean, I know
So,
Dan's not there no more, right? What is the turnover rate like? And is
well,
the friendship still there, or is there
I'm,
animosity with
I'm good.
folks?
I'm good friends with Dan still. What happened is it happens. Dan started working with another band, and then got pretty busy with both, and then he kind of at one point made a decision to maybe do a little bit more with the other band, and I was like, look, I need a full time guy, so we made. Oh, and also he had a change of jobs, as I recall, so it became one of that. But yeah, your turnover question is a great question because there's a lot of it, and to be honest, I that's another thing I had no clue about. I thought you get together, you get your brothers or brothers and sisters, and you swim together upstream or downstream, but you swim together. No, there's so many variables. You know, one player, Ryan Shirella, was with us for 5 years. Good kid, great hair, great shredder soloist. But he started to feel like not liking a lot of the songs that we kind of moved towards because we moved towards more 70s and stuff. And although he liked some of them, he
Right.
started getting less interested. So after 5 years, we parted ways. But um, a lot of turnover. I mean, I have now all different guys than when we started. just amazed because I would think you're in a band, you make the best of it. It's a great thing, even though it might not be the perfect thing. You know, this is life. But then there's people that change jobs every year. You know, they change and they change, and there's other people. So I mean, I'm the only person with West End Dogs right now. But I got to tell you, I love the guys that are with us. Um, Johnny, my drummer, uh, John Grigorovic is he used to sub a little bit for us before he actually joined us.
Right.
Very talented guy, and it's funny we don't agree all the time, but we bump heads once in a while. But he's literally one my best friend in the band from the standpoint of he's just a really good guy most of the time. So I met Steve Montgomery at karaoke. He's out there singing karaoke, and I went up to him and I said, "You got a really great voice. Have you ever been in a band?" He goes, "Yeah, I play bass." Turns around, he became my bass player. And by the way, I mentioned those two because they're both I'm gonna kind of co-lead singers in my band. I mean, I'm the main lead singer. I probably sing lead on 40% of the songs, 45%, whatever. But Johnny and Steve sing lead on 20-ish% of the songs, and we sing in great harmonies, which is really something that I love. Because even though I don't play an instrument per se, except maybe a tambourine, I don't even think I do it that well. My instrument when they're singing is harmony with them, and harmony feels so good. So I'm proud of 2-part harmony, 3-part harmony. It's a big part of our shows. So and then as long as I say, I might as well also add we've gone through a few keyboard players, but we've been with Tom Homan now for a few years, and Tom's wonderful. A little bit classical on the piano, sometimes, but with the keyboard, he can be horns, we sometimes play with horns. But when we don't have horns, we have Tom's horns, and he's great. He's even constantly working. How can I get this sound better? What's the best way to do that? And then the only part that's been a little difficult has been the guitar player. But our main guitar player now, um, Michael DiBenedetto, also plays with Drunken Clams and a Santana tribute band. So he's very busy, but we have
Wow.
him for many of our dates. And then there's a couple other people that join us in. Paul, who plays sometimes with, he goes all over the country. Paul Backish, he's often with, what's that band? Shorty Long. He's not, they have several guitar players too, kind of like us, but uh, what do you call it? Tom Bryant is with us sometimes. Johnny Moon is with us sometimes. But many of our dates are Michael DiBenedetto, and it's great because I like Santana. So uh, uh, when he does Black Magic Woman or whatever, I'm just like, oh, God, I'm playing with Carlos Santana here. This guy's so good, you know.
Right. Right.
But it's really enjoyable to have that, and I think I'm very lucky because my supporting cast is what makes us special.
How do you approach practicing and rehearsals? How often do you guys get together to, you know, be prepared for your gigs?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, some bands just don't practice at all. They are either good enough to say, "Hey, let's learn this and let's try it at our gig." We get together once or twice a month, and it's normally with the goal of adding songs. And in the last month or so, we've added about 15 songs, and I'm kind of proud of that fact because if you support a band and they play the same stuff over and over and over, um, it's great if you still like that and if you love the stuff, but at some point you get tired of it. So it's really varied. I mean, and just give you an example, like I said, the last month or so, we added Vaseline by Stone Temple Pilots, which is not our typical stuff. It's a little, rougher, but I love doing it, right? Come Dancing by the Kinks, um, Blink 182, What's My Age Again, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band by the Beatles, uh, Goodbye Stranger by Supertramp, Men at Work, Strokes, Doors, Squeeze, Madness, the Night Ranger, Sister Christian. That's actually funny. Sister Christian, I don't sing lead on it, but I love singing harmony. It's just, I mean, I feel like I'm flying when you're doing it. It's nice to fly when you're not necessarily the center of the vocals.
What is your most memorable performance with the band and why?
There's a few, George, but I guess I'd say playing at West End Park, which we do every year in Long Branch, in the Long Branch concert series.
Right.
You know, it's funny. I found the person who does the booking there, and for a couple of years, I was trying to get our band in there. And I said, I know you guys have great bands, and I know we're kind of up and coming, but wouldn't it be cool to have the West End Dogs play at the West End concert? Because there's one right in West End, which I walk to. It's so close. That's where I start when I do my walks. I start there because it's right in the corner from my house. Um, but I have to say it. We've had some weird luck with that place because the first time the weather was iffy and we decided to do it, but because the weather was iffy, we didn't have the crowd that you normally have there, and I was disappointed because I want to spread the name of our band, and when it's 300 people or 50 people, it's a pretty big difference, right?
Right.
And I remember because it started raining towards the end of the gig, and I was like, okay, it is what it is. But the next weekend, it was so gorgeous, and a band was playing there that nobody knew, but they were good, and it was so packed, and I was so disappointed, right? And that's a couple of years back. But last year, same thing with the weather. Now the weather's worse. It's raining. So I got together with the person that sets up the concerts, and they had us play inside at the senior center for the first time. And here's where you get a lemonade at a lemons, because I wanted to be outside. I wanted to be outside, but
Right.
it was so cool because a lot of people came to see us inside, and we gave a concert with people sitting in seats, like and it went really really well. And what was nice for us is we were the guinea pig that showed the Long Branch that if there's rain, we have a good plan B, not just a plan B, but a good plan B. And we had the horns with us. So we're scheduled to play that again on July 17th. I think we're due for some good weather on that.
Maybe a thunderstorm, an
No,
afternoon storm with high humidity in the summer. That's always
I don't
possible,
know. It's
right?
just weird. It's weird because most of them don't get canceled because you can't account for weather. I mean, but to answer that question, I'm to be honest, I'm very proud that we were finally chosen to play there because if you look at the bands that play there, it's just one great band after another, and and I'm always kind of like fighting and clawing, like how can we be better? How can we separate ourselves? Not necessarily separate ourselves, but you've had a couple of guests in the last couple months, Eddie Testa, Joe Bonadonna, Ilya, and I mean these guys get great crowds, and they deserve it. And they've been around and longer than us, but they deserve the crowds. And sometimes I'm a little jealous because although we have nice crowds, I want more people. Because the more people we play for, the bigger my smile is. And my smile is very big anyway. Just I enjoy what I'm doing, but playing in front of people and seeing them have fun and sing along and whatnot, it's a very joy. I'm very fortunate that I get to do that. I got to say, very lucky.
Now, you like the tambourine. Now, you can't include this in this when I'm asking you here. What's the weirdest or most interesting instrument you've ever played?
That's not really a great question for me because I can't remember if there's anything weird that I played. I mean, I played drums in junior high. You know, I don't think. I don't, God, I tell you, I wish I played the keyboard. And I'll tell you why. Everybody wants a good keyboard player in their band if they can have them, and there's just not a million of them out there. We're blessed to be
Wow.
Tom. We've played with a few others that are really good too, but yeah, I wish I played keyboards. Because I would like to be able to accompany myself and do some solo stuff. Because everybody will hire a solo person. It's less money, you know. But I do have a duo. I play with Steve Montgomery, um, and he's our bass player with the band, but he plays guitar. And the nice thing about playing with Steve is, again, the harmony. I sing harmony when he sings lead. He sings harmony when I sing lead. So even though we just have one guitar, we have two voices, which is really another instrument besides one voice, right? So I didn't answer your question because I don't think there
All
was
right. Sorry.
ukulele, maybe.
Now I'm going to throw a curveball. Okay.
Okay.
We'll get this sports analogy here. You're not the only singer in that household. I want you to tell me about your significant other and who she sings with, and how often do you two collaborate together and sing together? So please tell us about her.
Oh, so that's great. I'm glad you asked. My girlfriend, Terry Porcelli, is very talented, wonderful stage presence. She's 10 years younger than me, a lot better looking than me. And I tell her every day how sexy she is and how lucky I am to have a beautiful girlfriend like her. But she's also extremely talented and so comfortable on stage. Um, we were together in the first band that I was in, Taste This, and we were co-leads, and it was great because you know I think when she sang, maybe some guys liked that a little bit, and when I sang, maybe a few gals may have liked me or whatever. But it's something that worked. But she's in a band now called Low on Cash.
Thank you for name. I was going to ask you to name that. Thank you.
Low on Cash. Interesting name. I actually love the name, but it's got nothing to do with country or Johnny Cash. It's just kind of, and then it's actually funny trying to figure out the name of a band. If you come up with a great name, somebody else has it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So Low on Cash, and they're actually playing this Friday at Nip and Tuck, and it's great because I go see them when I'm not playing, and they come see us, and Terry comes see us. But I'm really proud of Terry. I met Terry at live band karaoke. Oh my God, it was in 2011.
Wow.
I had actually just gotten divorced officially, and she was talking to one of my good friends that I met through karaoke, and she left him. And I went up to him and I said, "Who is that?" And he told me she's the nicest person you'll ever meet, and and he said she's going through a difficult divorce. And I went up to her, and I don't know, I built up the courage to just go up to her and introduce myself. I gave her a business card, and I said, I said, what's that? Well, my phone number, right? My phone number. No.
Business card.
Well,
There you go.
it's just like give her something so she has it, the phone number. And I said I'd like to hang out with you sometime. It's been a very difficult year with my life, and Joe said you're one of the nice. I said one of the nicest people, not the nicest person. He said the nicest person. I told her one of the nicest person. I didn't want her to get
right.
crazy big head. But she went away with a friend right after we met, and I thought she might be blowing me off or whatever. But we ended up getting together, and yeah, I'm very happy that I.
The rest is history, brother. The rest is history, man.
Yeah, I'm like a I don't know. I'm a pretty loyal person. I was married for 24 years. Never any cheating or anything like that. We just had a falling out, and I met Terry, and I was very impressed with her as a person, and so we live together now. We're together for about 5-6 years, living together.
Nice.
But anyway, her band is doing well. You know, again, they're starting to clawing and stuff like that, but they're out there getting gigs and rehearsing. They rehearse a lot, which is good. You know, we like I said, we rehearse once or twice a month with the goal of adding new songs. Um, but yeah, I'm very proud of Terry and her abilities and her success.
So, what's the best piece of advice another musician ever gave you?
Well, I'll give you a good piece of advice and a bad piece of advice. All right. The,
Okay, that's fine.
that's the good piece of advice that someone gave me is smile, smile. The idea, and then, by the way, I took that advice and I watched different singers, and it's funny. Do you know the band? Is it Soul Seduction?
Yeah,
Or
that's my friend of mine. My friend of mine's the lead singer of that
wait, it might be
that
another
band.
one. What's oh my goodness, Soul Cruisers maybe. I
Soul
can't remember.
Cruisers.
I
They're
can't
all
remember.
over. They're well known back where I'm from, and they play a lot in Point Pleasant on Thursday
Maybe
nights.
it's the Soul Cruisers, but there was like five singers.
That's the Soul Cruisers.
Okay, and you know what? There's one of the guys is smiling all the time, guy with the glasses, right? And
Yes.
I can't help but stare at him when he plays because you see the fun and the joy that he has. And I try to do that. It's not something I really think a whole lot about now, but I'm
Right.
having fun. I'm seeing people having fun, and I'm smiling. And I by the way, I noticed my drummer Johnny behind me. He's always smiling. It's wonderful. He's got that. So that advice was great. But I'll tell you a piece of advice that wasn't so good that a musician gave me. When you start a band,
Right.
try to it's kind of like try to stay in your lane, like pick a lane and go in your lane. Like if you're going to be southern rock, do southern rock because that'll become your audience. And you're going to be country, whatever it might be. But I took that advice and I said no. I said I variety is the spice of life. I love I love variety, and to be a band that can do "Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me" by Elton John, right? And then do "Man in the Box" and something that's kind of in your face and whatever,
Right.
and then do something by the Stylistics and something by just all over the map. I think that variety it's something that I enjoy, and I think most people enjoy. And when we decide on adding new songs, sometimes I'm like, yeah, that's a little different from what we've done. Yeah, let's do it. It's got a different sound than what we normally have, but why not? You know. So the advice was stay in your lane, and my advice is it's variety's okay. Variety is all
Right.
right. So
In life, who is your biggest idol? Who'd you look up to? It doesn't have to be musical. It could be anybody that
well,
influenced you.
I'm not going to say I'm not going to say I look up to him, but I would like to have lunch with him. But maybe I do look up to him because of his talent. I'm a huge Larry David fan. I am just the comedy. Maybe it's that I'm Jewish and his humor is sometimes pretty Jewish based. But I would if I could meet him, I would want to say thank you because throughout all the years, I mean, I like a lot Seinfeld. But when he moved on to Curb Your Enthusiasm is when he really just, to me, just took off in funny. Partly why he was able to use the F word, and I know we're able to use it now on this, but I'm not
Yeah, you
going.
can.
Yeah,
I try to limit it, but we
yeah, yeah,
can. We
yeah.
don't.
No, no, no,
No
no, no.
FCC regulations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not going to say it, but the whole idea of like sometimes that word you need to say that word, right?
Yes.
It just so deserves the moment, right? And they do it. They don't overdo it, but yeah, I just find he's one of the guys. But I mean, as far as like, that's not the person that I would put on the high pedestal. I would put him on it from an entertainment standpoint because I think he's
Right.
brilliant. I really think if he can entertain me for decades with these shows, um, that's that's a person I'd like to hang with. But I'm not sure he would want to hang out with me. But I might get him because I do Larry David things every once in a while.
Go. There you go.
But that's that.
What was the biggest lesson that you learned from a disastrous gig or performance?
Hmm. Well, I don't think I've had a disastrous performance, but I've had some performances where there wasn't as many people there as I would have liked. And my lesson on that was just, you know, do your best, still have fun. Maybe find some music. You don't have to be exactly the same as you normally are, but
Right.
um, but find some music that the people that are there like, and do your best. And I mean, a lesson out of that is, we got to promote. We got to do what we can to promote. And on that note, I do a lot of Facebook promotion, but I also got slammed from when I got hacked in Facebook. I lost everything. If you go to West End Dogs on Facebook, it's not me anymore. If you go to my page, it's me, but I had 1,500 people that were followers or friends, whatever, and now I have 400 because I had to start over again. So that whole, believe me, it was a punch. But I always
Happened to me twice. It happened to me
yeah,
twice,
yeah, yeah.
and
Oh,
it had everything. And I don't talk about it. I will not talk about it here or any of my podcasts. It had everything, and I'll mention it. Everything to do with my politics, because at one point I had to call the police, and they asked me questions of was I in the military and how many people I had and how many followers, and
mm,
I told them, and it came from Creek, the one, and I had my friend try to back door to get me in. They took my passwords. They even got into my Gmail account. I had to change my password quickly. It was insane. So it happens to a lot of people. It's one of the biggest annoyances when I hear somebody said I got hacked.
well, George,
I think that's assault.
when I got hacked, at least 12 people lost between several hundred and up to like $1,500 because they hacked me and they were selling stuff under my
Ugh.
name, and then people would message the hacker, and the hacker, people who message me that know me well know I'm pretty trustworthy, and yeah, the
Right.
lawnmower's in great shape, yeah, but there's a lot of people that want it, so you got to send a deposit if you want it, whatever.
So wrong. It's
And,
just
and
it's so
I went
wrong.
to the police. I tried to get to Facebook, but they don't really talk to you.
They don't answer you. They don't answer
Yeah,
you.
not at all.
They
Nothing.
don't. They
Nothing.
don't care.
And I thought, it's so funny because my mind goes to, why aren't they answering? Oh, once they answer, then they're in it. Now they're going to have to be dealing with it and legal stuff. So that's why they don't answer. The police were like, did you lose any money? No, I didn't lose any money. I'm just trying to look out for everybody else and my friends.
Right.
And guess what? The police couldn't do anything. There's a fraud number website you can for fraud, but same idea. If you don't lose the money specifically, they just don't kind of care. But anyway, we're building back. And I always tell people, if you want to come see my band, if you want to support us at all, westenddogs.com. You go to our
Right.
website, and right there is our schedule. Right there, you can take a picture of it and put it in there. So I tell my guys, just promote westenddogs.com, and that's what people will come see us. That we have that like.
What's the biggest challenge of being a musician in today's world? And you can include social media and internet and all that other stuff with this answer too.
Well, I mean, one of the challenges is that there's so many great bands out there that there's so much competition. I mean, any given night, we share some audiences from other bands, and we have our people that come and watch us. I don't call them fans because I feel like people that come see us are friends. I really feel that way, and I know there's so much competition. So dealing with that competition is one thing, but then
Right.
again, work hard, find stuff. I can't tell you when we do gigs and we see people for the first time that have never seen us before. they always come up to me or one of my bandmates and say, I can't believe the variety of the music and so many of these songs. Like, one example, Don't Pull Your Love. Dun, dun, da, 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 Don't Pull Your Love. Like, that's a song, not everybody knows, the young kids don't know that song, but you do that song and 50, 60, 70-year-olds are like, I haven't heard a band ever cover that song, but
Right,
I'm so
right,
glad
right,
that
right.
you did. So that's one of the big challenges. And I think the other thing is just doing your best to get along with everybody in the band. There's so many different personalities, and somebody, I don't want to do this song, I want to do this song. So you gotta, and I'm not a dictator by any means. Sometimes I wish I was, because I'd be like, all right, we're doing this song, because I feel like I have great ideas. But you know what? I'm not that cocky. I know other people have great ideas, and I like people to feel that. So we do have opportunities for everybody in the band to recommend some songs, and so that that politically can be kind of challenging.
If you could change anything about the music industry, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a tough one, George. I don't know. I mean, I guess part of mine for people that are doing this to do this as a living, it would be nice if there would be a way for people to get rewarded better for their abilities and their success, because it's so difficult right now where there's no longer albums or DVDs. So the ability for people to actually make a living, it would be nice. I my son's doing great, the opera singer, but it would be nice for him to be twice as far along as he is right now. But I have to understand something. He's 33, and some opera singers don't hit their stride till they're like 40, 45. So
Wow,
he's kind
wow,
of in a, yeah, it's very rare that a 22-year-old is going to blow you away in opera.
that's
Male,
crazy. That's
males
crazy.
especially, males especially, because it's just constant development. But that's actually another cool thing about following my son. Um, just about every time I see him, I'm like, you're better. You're better than you were last year. You're better than you were 6 months ago, because he's gaining. It's always been beautiful, but he's gaining power and control and skills that I don't even think about when I sing. It's just it's pretty fascinating.
Nice. How has streaming and social media changed the music industry for you and the West End Dogs?
Well, I mean, for me, I have to say social media has been great. And besides getting hacked and, and losing my main focus, it's been a great way to let people know what I'm doing. What my band is doing and where we are. And you know, I try sometimes maybe for a bigger show, like I might send out invitations to people, not just posting an event, but actually inviting people. Um, but I try to be cognizant of not doing that too much, because many years ago, one of my friends got mad at me, and I realized what he wrote me. He's not really a friend because he went off on me, and
Wow.
I said, I'm sorry. I probably sent too many invites. I learned from it. Don't send the same people the same invites all the time. Right? Be judicious about that. But yeah, with what he wrote me, I was like, you know what? I thought of you as a friend, but what you're writing me, and I think you're getting a little crazy about this. I'm just trying to promote my band. I'm sorry, you know. But that's another thing. If you're in a band and you don't do any promotion for your band, you don't know that you know any of that stress that I kind of lost sort of a friend over something as stupid as inviting him too
Wow.
much.
Wow.
But whatever. I don't need those kind of friends anyway. But
I hear you. What do you do? What do you hope the audience feels or takes away from you and the West End Dogs when they come see you and when they leave?
so the last time we played at Driftwood Tiki, it's kind of an interesting place. It's not really a tiki. It's a bar. You know, if you say it's a tiki, well, gosh, it's 40 degrees out. I'm not going to go to a tiki. No, it's an indoor heated bar, but it's like a tiki, whatever. We had a couple. They did a video, and it was so cool. Like, I didn't even know who these guys were. They're amazing. They're, so many accolades, and they put a little video together with fake faces, like, with something AI faces.
Right.
And it's interesting because one of them said, "I can't believe they did Touch Me" by the Doors. I haven't heard a band do that in a long time because of the horns and stuff like that. And it's funny because I remember talking to my guys about doing Touch Me, and not everybody wanted to do it. But here you got this couple who's like blown away by it or whatever. But I'm not sure if I'm exactly answering your question, but I want people to enjoy us. I want people to sing along if it's something that they know well. I want to see them dance if it's dancey. And that's another thing that's interesting because some bands go crazy about dancing, and I get it. It's nice to have country bands, country line dancing, okay, or just dance bands in general. And we have many moments of that with our gigs, but we also have time where we just see people singing along and digging it. And again, I'm extremely proud how newer people come up to us and say that they like our set list. They're just so impressed about the variety and find those one or two, three songs that nobody does. So I think, did I answer your question?
Yeah. So I'm just going to go right to the next one. This was later on, but this is the right time to ask this one. What is your favorite venue to play at? You actually give me three, and I don't want to ditch any of them, but every band musician has a favorite place to perform. I'm sure you do. What are yours?
Well, actually, one of them is actually Huddy's. Huddy's, whenever we play inside, it's packed, and so that's nice. And there's not a lot of room to move around, and maybe not a lot of room for everybody else that's in there. But they're always in your face, and I always see the bartenders kind of near us, and they're singing along, and they're bumping their fists. But also, we have the outside during the summer. As a matter of fact, what is it? April 18th, a week from Saturday, we're playing at Huddy's, and that's our next gig. We don't know if we're going to be inside or outside because what they'll do is, if it's nice out, they'll put us outside. But then that's another nerve-wracking thing because what if it's on the borderline, right?
Right.
Might as well just go inside, right?
It's big outside. I like the outside there. You're right.
Great.
I like the stage there. I like it.
And actually, George, you and I know each other pretty well, so I've been battling some health issues over the last, gosh.
Right.
When COVID came, I was one of the unlucky ones that got hit hard with COVID, and
Right.
and I'm saying this for a reason, not so people feel sorry for me, but just I got hit hard, and then all of a sudden, I start hearing about long COVID. I don't even know if maybe I have long COVID because I just went downhill. I was 60 years old. I'm 66 now. I got hit with it. I was in the hospital for 8 days. It was so scary. Fortunately, there's a lot of people that were way worse than me, but
Right.
I was scared. And then after that, a couple years later, I was diagnosed with leukemia, and I didn't know. I'm generally a very optimistic person, so I was like, all right, I'll handle this. But it's not something you would want to have. And
Correct.
and then the thing that messed me up with the leukemia was I'm on my third drug, but
Wow.
the first two drugs I had horrible side effects, and I ended up in the hospital. And there's a reason I'm putting this with Huddy's because I was in the hospital and I was really sick. I was supposed to be in there for 3 days. I was in there for 12 days. I had emergency surgery from fluid building up, a reaction to the medicine I was taking. This was the
Right.
second medicine, and I wasn't playing for several months because I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I took disability. And fortunately, I felt pretty good. You know why I felt pretty good? Because I wasn't on any medicine after I got sick. They waited a month before they put me on the next medicine, right? And oh, by the way, that medicine is not good for my bones and my shoulders and the pain that I have, but I'm dealing with it anyway. We had a gig, the first gig coming back from that emergency surgery and stuff, and it was at Huddy's. And since I hadn't played, I went out and I reached out to my friends and said, "Please come support us. I'm so happy I'm going to be able to play again. It's been 4 months or whatever it
Right.
was." And we packed the place. And it's funny. I never thought I'd be packing a place. When I say pack a place, bands like Mushmouth, Eddie Testa, the Sheep Herders, they have these huge, gigantic crowds. And I get it. Some people, they're great bands. People like to go where there's a lot of people because they meet people. It's fun. But we
Right.
had that kind of audience, and we've had that kind of audience at other venues as well. But when we had it, we also, for the first time, used horns. And I remember being out there and turning around to my drummer and listening to the harmony of the horns, right, playing their Chicago stuff, right. And I was like, this is gonna be a fun one. This is really gonna be a good one. So Huddy's stands out as one of my favorite spots. But I mean, I love Donovan's Reef. It's a little bit of
Right.
a different spot. Yeah, our age is there early, and then it switches to young people, and it's
Right.
crazy. It's crazy to switch. But guess what we do? We switch our music to
Right.
stuff that they like, and it's nice that they do like younger people like some of the stuff we like. They like the Monkees. They like, you know what I mean? They like Sweet Caroline. They go crazy when you do Sweet Caroline. And guess what? I'm not sick of Sweet Caroline because I've only been in the band for 14 years. I'm not really sick of it like so
Right.
many other people are. But anyway, it's our 10th year anniversary at Donovan's. So
Wow.
that they have us every year, and when they first had us, we were a little bit sloppy, but we did the right songs, and they liked us. We brought enough people, and we've been building and growing. So Donovan's has been great. I love Blue Grotto, which is Pat and Lola's, and they've given us 3 dates for this year. Um, the only thing that's tough about them, you can bring a good crowd. They're hanging out by the bar, but they're not in your face,
Right.
unless you're like some of those other bands that. But we're getting there, and it doesn't happen overnight. But that would be one thing. If I could do this and get 150 more people to come see us, that'd be great. But maybe you'll help me with this podcast tonight.
Hey, it's a good place to get when the weather is nice.
Yeah,
I mean, I've been there a handful of times and I've seen it packed. It's a good location. I mean, and
it's a cool spot.
hopefully the new owners will add some maybe different touches to it. Maybe the menu. I don't know, but I've been there. I like it. I mean,
Yeah, it's a
it's
cool spot.
different. It's different. And,
If I could wave a wand and move the stage closer to where the bar area.
right, because it's a nice. It's like what, like maybe
It's
100
really fun.
yards. It's like
Yeah,
a
it's
football
far.
field or 50 yards away.
And by
You're
the
right.
way,
You're
just
right.
another thing that I have to say about Blue Grotto that's kind of funny. One time we played, and like I said, the whole bar area. I mean, there's no seats available because enough people are there, but not a ton of people near us. And somebody that was at one of the seats far away told the manager, "We're too loud." Let me tell you, we're not too loud. I mean, we weren't too
Wow.
loud, but
Too
it was.
loud.
They were far away. But you know what? The power of one person complaining, the squeaky wheel. The manager comes up to us and says, "Hey, I need you guys to." And I'm not an argument. Whatever you want, whatever you need.
Right.
But
Right. Right. Right.
what about it? I go, I was just over there while the band was doing a song that I wasn't involved in, and I could talk freely. And in other words, we were not too loud. But it's funny that person got the manager to come over and tell us that. But that's life.
Do you have a regular routine you do before a show, a ritual, or we all have when I was a swimmer, so I always had this ritual I always did before a race, before you perform, before you do a gig. Is there a
Yeah.
just you do it constantly?
Well, I always before a gig or a rehearsal, I always warm up my voice.
Or what? I'm sorry, I didn't catch
I'm
that.
sorry, I always warm up my voice, my vocal
Okay.
cords, and it's interesting because like you can go to YouTube, male vocal warm up, right? and I recorded one. It's about 20 minutes. And if I don't do it at home, I do it in the car on the way to the gig, and it really does open me up. Um, People that know me, I'm a little bit of a deeper singer, like a little more of a baritone,
Right,
but
right,
to get I also have to get up kind of high, and I don't really get up as high as like an Eddie Testa, okay, or Steve
right.
Montgomery from my band, or even Johnny. But I have more power in the lower ranges. But guess what? By warming up, um, it 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 it's absolutely a ritual, because I once or twice I didn't do it, and I was like, oh, something tonight, or I can't get to that note, or whatever. So vocal warm ups are huge. Um, I'd like to say one other thing if I can. Oh, geez, what did I
Still
do?
here. You're good.
I feel like I lost you. Can you see me?
I can see it. We're good. We're good.
Okay, I can't see you, but that's okay.
You can't see me. That might be a good thing.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
I
But
can
no,
see you.
okay, good. I pressed something on the computer. Anyway,
It's all right. You're good.
I wanted to say how interesting the science of singing is, that most people have no idea. David, my son, I say he went to Juilliard, but then for a graduate program, a master's program, he went to Indiana, the Jacobs School of Music, which is another wonderful place to learn how to sing classical music. And while I visited him one time, I was in a master class, and they were talking about where sound comes from when you sing. And most people would say, yeah, it comes from the diaphragm, like, somewhere in your stomach area, and it just kind of goes up. Um, well, they were explaining that no, it doesn't come from there. And it doesn't. You think about it, it could come from your tush area, just Kegel, like you press that up, right? That can kind of get you. No, it starts from your feet, and I don't really understand, how does sound start from your feet? That makes like no sense. But there's something about starting low and ending high. But the voice doesn't just go out of your your mouth, um, and you don't want it to come out of your nose, because that's a nasal thing, and that's a problem. But
Right.
something happens to the notes in your head, and I just, for the life of me, if you read up on it, to know that sound comes from your feet but goes up to your head, and then if you're singing right, and I'm not so sure if that's just classic music or whatever, but every once in a while I think about it when I know a note's coming up, about it starting lower and bringing it up. Um, but it's amazing, because it is such a science to singing. And for a guy like me, I'm not. I don't think about it a lot, but I know I need to have my voice warmed up before I perform. So
It's kind of like when I was a swimmer. We warmed up before a race, before the meet, and it got out. Then I always listened to. I'm gonna tell you this. I used to always listen to Rush before it got me pumped up before a race. I would put on some old Rush and get in the locker room. I would be ready to go. I get up to the block and just ready to kick ass.
oh
So,
yeah.
so I get it. All right, we're gonna go into a topic now, and we'll get back to some other things. We're gonna go into something I really enjoy, and I know you do too. Is sports. I know you're an avid Knicks fan. It pains me that there's three Villanova players on that team, because I'm a major Villanova fan. Now, after last night, it's still not in play, but it could happen. We could see the New York Knicks versus the Philadelphia 76ers in round one if Philly can get the 6 and the Knicks hold the number 3. Oh, I love New York Philly matchups. How about you?
Uh, well, I mean, so let me ask you something. How's Philly's health wise? I haven't seen them play in a long time. Are they?
Well, if everybody keeps track of my posts, I'm not a fan of our owner. I'm not a fan of our president of basketball operations, and I'm not a fan of Joel Embiid. I'm still stuck when we tanked. I'm still tanked with the word "the process." I never want to hear the word "the process" ever again. Okay, and it just pains me when we tanked for almost 3 seasons. The NBA had to get involved the third season. I would never pay when they were tanking. That annoyed. They were charging full bucks to go.
Yeah.
They weren't cutting prices and tickets as they were tanking. And the only thing they got out of that tanking was Joel Embiid. And if Philly fans would understand that, that's all they got because they wound up trading stuff away. I root for them, but it's so difficult to watch. They're probably my least favorite Philly team. I watch a little bit of them. I kind of wish they weren't going to make the playoffs, and I won't get too upset if the Knicks beat them. I won't.
Yeah. Well, I know. I'm very impressed by Maxey. He's a wonderful.
Maxey and the other guy they got from Baylor.
Yes.
Unbelievable backcourt, young backcourt, and it's a shame that they're in Philly. They're gonna have to. If they make the playoffs, it'll be good for them, for those two guys, because they are. I like those two. I like Maxey a lot. He can play, and so can the other kid from Baylor.
Is it Edgecombe? I think
Edgecombe. Thank you. Yes, Edgecombe. Thank you. Yes.
Actually, it's interesting because I followed him some in college. I think I may have told you this. I have this method of betting where
we're going to get to that. You just brought it up, so go ahead, man.
I just want to say early in the season, it depends on the sport and timing, but I'll generally pick 2, 3, maybe even 4 teams to go all the way. And Edgecombe's team, Baylor, was one of the teams I picked because I guess it was a year or two before that I picked them and I won. It was when Baylor won. And I've had some other successes. I actually had, Denver Nuggets. I had them at 35-1. I don't bet a lot of money, but I had them at 35-1 the year that they won, and I think it was like $10. I mean, they made like $300 or something like that. But like, it's nice because now you root for them. But Edgecombe's Baylor was one of the teams I bet on, and they weren't that great, which to me is, I'm one of the maybe few people that followed Baylor during the last year when Edgecombe was their star. I was surprised he went as early as he went because I didn't see him exploding in college. But it's wonderful that he's doing as well as he is for Philly.
Yeah, I like the two young guards. I mean, but it pains me. I'm just not a fan of our owner. Just sell the team, please. He doesn't get Philly. He owns the Devils, Josh Harris, right? He owns the Devils, and he just bought the Commanders in Washington. He's from Washington. Just sell the Sixers, please. I love when Pat Croce was there. I'm a huge Pat Croce fan. I used to listen to him. He was on a local radio station in Philly. He got Philly. I'm about, if you're going to own a team or have any hands on a team, you need to understand the city that you own the team or you're a president of the team of. You got to understand the rich basketball history. Look, the mecca of basketball is the Garden, but the mecca of college basketball is the Palestra in Philly. Okay, the college teams in Philly are sick. The Big Five.
Oh yeah,
and you could put Drexel there too, because I mean we sometimes would call them the Big Six. The Palestra, if you've never been to see a game there, it's historic. It's just, it's the mecca of. You went to Penn. You went to Penn. Oh my God!
Not only did I go to Penn, but I was in the Palestra all the time.
Oh my God! I totally forgot. I'm talking to the guy who probably was there all the time.
No, I was there. So I was there for the Big Five games, and when I was a freshman, UPenn made it to the Final Four. And
1978.
Yeah.
When they played Michigan State.
That's right. Unfortunately.
Yeah, and this guy by the name of Magic Johnson.
Yeah,
Irvin Magic Johnson.
Yeah, who played against Larry Bird in the finals. So that was
correct.
But I mean, the Big Five games, and so many of them came down to the wire. Yeah, Villanova, St. Thomas, St. Joe's, UPenn, and one other one. It's escaping me, but yeah, the Palestra. And it was
here's the Big Five. Here's the Big Five. You got LaSalle, St. Joe's, Villanova, Temple, and Penn.
Oh, there you go. So those games, it was awesome because you'd have, 60-40 or 50-50 of fans from both schools, and it's packed, and it's a historic venue, right? It's just classic and old, and I would walk there. It's right down the street from where I live. I always lived like right in the middle of campus, which was kind of fun.
It's a great campus.
Yeah.
You got Drexel right next to it. I used to go to all the parties on Thursday nights.
Do you That's funny. It was $2 to get into the fraternity.
Yeah, well, we used to go to the Drexel frat house, and then there was this bar. I think it was on 38th and Chestnut. I think we would go there first, and then we would go to a frat house, and
Smoky Joe's by any chance?
I forget what it was, but man, it was cheap draft night on Thursday nights. Oh my
Yeah.
God, holy cow!
Well, it's
I'm
funny.
not going to tell you how I got home. That's it. That's
I was
that's why I
in,
don't drink no more. Why I had a problem. You know what I mean?
I learned that it wasn't a good idea for me to drink when I was in college. I would get sick a lot, to be honest.
Right.
I couldn't take it. I'd 5, 6 beers. I'm done. I'm gonna get sick that night or the next day, and then the next day I'm shit till 5 o'clock. But I remember one thing I enjoyed about college is that there's a lot of fraternities on UPenn, like 24 of them, and I would go to a lot of the different fraternities because it was $2 to get in. I didn't have a lot.
Right.
I didn't have a lot of money in college.
Well, college students don't, man.
What?
Most college students don't have a lot of money.
No.
You gotta have cheap. You drink cheap beer. You go to cheap parties and cheap dates.
Some of them at Penn had money, by the way. Some of the bougie fraternities. But it was funny because some of my friends in the fraternity, they're like, I don't want to go to that house. They're a bunch of whatever. It's all funny how you have your clique, and your clique is like, come to my party, but I'm not going theirs. There was a house right next to ours, and it's so much fun. I used to go to all different parties and just enjoy myself and not necessarily, have to be with just my fraternity, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? It was a really enjoyable time. But I saw some amazing games at the Palestra. And sure enough, in my first year, I also played lacrosse at UPenn, and that was great, great experience.
Played on Franklin Field, right?
That's right.
Another legendary facility.
There you go. But I really thoroughly enjoyed it. To me, it was like to be able to go to see the basketball games at the Palestra, and there were so many close games. And this leads me to the next topic, because after I graduated a couple years later is when Villanova won the championship. And that year, that's an 85, I think.
85, yeah. They beat Georgetown and the Patrick Ewing team. And actually, if you remember, they had 3 Big East teams there. You had Chris Mullen and St. John's were in the Final Four, and the lone team that wasn't from the Big East was Memphis. Remember Keith Lee?
Yes. Let me tell you this. I did a bracket with a bunch of friends. It was probably about 60 of us or so. $20 pool. And I don't know why. Well, I mean, I do know why, because it's a Big Five thing. I had Villanova, an 8 seed or 7 seed. No, I think it was an 8 seed. I had them in the final game against Georgetown.
Wow.
And I didn't have them winning at all because Georgetown was so dominant, about 60.
Right. Yeah, correct.
But I won the pool. And you know why I won the pool? Because I had Villanova that far. And so guess what? Watching that game, I was a huge Villanova rooter. I'm sure I'm not the only one, because people love underdogs, right?
Correct.
And I was like, when they pulled that off, I think they shot 74% from the field.
They had to in that game. If you remember,
Exactly.
They won by it was so tight. They couldn't miss. They couldn't miss.
Yeah, and it really, the joy of college basketball. I've watched so much basketball in the last few weeks. One of my teams was UConn to go all the way. I had a $5 bet on them at 30 something to 1, 32 to 1. It would have paid me 180. So I was enjoying this tournament. I enjoyed last night. They were right there. If that kid hits the 3-pointer with 15 seconds left, they're down by 1.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. We said before we got on the air, I said, man, if UConn could hit more threes, they would have won that game. They couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with the 3-pointers in the first half. They couldn't hit anything.
Well, what about against Duke? They were 1 for 18.
Yeah, Duke. You talk. Duke fired their head coach over that game. All the Duke player to do was hold on to the ball.
That's insane. But
That's a choke job.
I just found out they got the former coach of the Denver Nuggets. Did they?
Yeah, they just
got not George Carl. What the hell's his name? I can't think of his name. But I'm a fan of his because we won one bet. Oh, and by the way, on the betting stuff,
go ahead.
I don't want to make it sound like I'm a major gambler because I'm not. I'm really not. But this process of picking a few good teams early in the season and just staying with them, it's actually smart because you don't lose a lot of money if they don't go far. And if they do go far, you've got that team. Like, I know you want your Philly teams, right?
Right.
Being a football fan, I'm a Jet fan, and I always root for the Jets. But I'm done in a third of the way into the season, maybe halfway, and now I'm rooting for them to lose so that we get a draft choice. But guess what? I also have a couple other teams that are fighting and scratching and clawing. And this one, they're doing better than they thought they were going to do early in the year. So now they're my team. And I've won a few times. I've actually won the first year that, what is it? I'm sorry, Kansas City with the Mahomes. The,
Right.
the first, I think it was the first year that they won. At one point of the season, like a third into the season, the quarterback was hurt, and so was the quarterback of the Saints, Drew Brees.
Drew
And
Brees.
they were both obviously really top end quarterbacks, but they were both injured. And I saw the odds go from 6 or 7 to 1 to like 12 to 1, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put money on both of these teams to go all the way. And sure enough, that year, KC won. And I thought I was so smart, because I not only bet them, but I bet them when their quarterback was hurt, thinking he's going to come back, they'll be fine, and
Right. Right.
they'll have a
Right.
shot. But don't get me wrong, no people that bet ever are true winners. The house makes the money at one, you know what I mean? The house always makes the
Correct.
money. But the thing that I'm proud of is the number of bets that I've made over the last like 6 years or 7 years, maybe whatever. I haven't lost a lot of money, and I've had so much joy rooting, and so I'm a fan of legal gambling, but I'm not a fan of the fact that a lot of people bet over their heads, and it's rough. It's like anything
What's the
else.
killer? What the killer is with betting, and I know football like the back of my hand. I tell people, you want to learn betting, study it for a year. These guys in Vegas that set the football lines, they're not stupid. They're
Right.
not stupid. You can go right college football, and it's just the lines are you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
The things that get people are the prop bets.
Right. Yeah. They
Or
don't pay
all
out.
you could bet. You could bet who wins the coin toss. I mean, the prop bets. There's so many different type of prop bets. It's off the charts. It's absolutely insane. And what people do is they chase after their money. You know what I mean? I tell people, I give like during the season, I pick games. They're all for fun. I picked like 10, like maybe 9 games of college, right? If you're a bettor, you pick a couple games and you run with them. But what a lot of people do is when they lose on Saturday, they chase for the money that they lost on Saturday, on
That's
Sunday.
right.
And that's a no-no. That's a
No, because
no-no.
it almost never works, right?
Correct.
You just get
It
used to
doesn't work.
right.
You
Right.
put yourself more in a hole. That's what gets people in a lot of trouble. You got to be really careful. I don't do it anymore because I have to be real here. I used to drink with it. You know what I mean? It's like when I went to the casino, I like to play blackjack, but with it came with me having some cocktails because they walk around at the casino and give you free drinks. So would I like to bet a couple football games? Yeah, but I have to be careful because it just doesn't. I avoid it. I pick games for fun. I'm good at it for football, and I have fun with. Some of my friends take some of my picks and put money on them. Go for it. Hey, bet at your own risk. I put an asterisk for entertainment purposes only. Hey man, I don't want to be responsible if you lose a game because you took one of my picks. That's on you. So Gary, a couple more questions I know, and then we'll get it. Let you go here. If you could have a conversation with your younger self, what would you say to yourself?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. I think I would say don't worry so much. Don't worry so much. I gotta tell you, oh, yeah, okay. I gotta
I still
say
got
this.
you, man.
Okay, yeah.
You don't need to see me.
I'm glad that you can still see me because I'm looking at like booking.com.
You're good, brother. You're good.
No, but
You're good.
I would say don't worry so much. My daughter is a lot like me. I remember in school being told there's a test next Wednesday or whatever. And like, I get a headache right away because I was like, oh my God, I got to study, and
Right.
all this stuff. And, I almost always get A's. I mean, you know, not bragging, but I went to an Ivy League school. I went to the Wharton School, which is one of the toughest schools to get into, uh,
Right.
because I worked my ass off. I always worked hard, and I had good grades, but I didn't have a good SAT score.
I was just going to ask, you know what? I was just going to ask you what your SAT score was. You
Dude,
just
it was 1130.
get out
Out
of
of,
here.
no,
You got it with your grades. Holy cow.
well, but you know what? Lacrosse helped me to get it.
Okay, there you go. There you
And
go.
my grades. My grades, I was like a 3.8.
Wow.
Almost all A's.
Wow.
But I worked hard and I studied hard.
Right.
The problem was being in Penn, especially in Wharton. You're on a bell curve. So I'm in with these people getting 1,500 and 1,600 on their
Right.
SAT.
Right. Right.
And again, don't worry, Gary, don't worry. Yeah, I worried. I always worried. And I think the lesson of not worrying was like I would worry and then I'd get an A, and it'd be like, why did I worry? And then I'll get another test coming up. Oh, headache. Like, and,
Right. 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 Right.
and my daughter's the same way. God bless her. She's a little. We go to a diner, right? And it's going to take her a month to figure out what she's going to order when she gets the menu because she doesn't want to order the wrong thing because she's worried about ordering the wrong thing. At least that's what I see. And so I would tell my young self, don't worry, it's going to be okay. Um, but sometimes it's good to worry. It's good to
Right.
think about your future. It's good to save money for your future, and not overspend just because you know what I mean. It just I think I've done a lot of things right as best I can, but yeah, I would tell myself don't sweat, especially don't sweat the small stuff.
There's the term. Don't sweat the small shit.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, because
There
we
you
all
go.
sweat. We all sweat stuff, and you're right. If you're going to sweat something, don't sweat the small stuff.
Right. Right. So, what have you learned about yourself in the past year? That'll be my last one. Then we'll get into what the dogs are doing. I'll let you go.
Sure. So, I mean, the last year, I've been, I retired. I retired in February on my 65th birthday last,
Congratulations.
last year. Thank you. Yeah, it's a milestone, that's for
Well
sure.
earned, man. I joke I'm going to be working forever because as all you were responsible, as I heard some friends' fathers say, if you're going to party hard, work hard and be responsible.
Yeah,
I didn't have that, so I have a lot of kudos and a lot of respect for a lot of people. I love my parents. Don't get me wrong,
yeah,
but I didn't have that kick in the ass of you're going to college. You know what I mean? I had to learn a lot of stuff on the streets, and I paid the piper royally. So I'll be working forever as you guys are all earning your retirement and chilling
yeah.
and doing what you deserve for doing the right things. I'll be working and picking away forever.
Well, I learned from my dad about saving. Like, it was funny when we were younger and we'd get like maybe a pizza once in a while for dinner. We
Right,
would almost never have a topping because a topping was $1 more, or maybe back then 50 cents more.
right,
We don't
right,
need to spend that money. And I would be like, yeah, there's five of us. If we just get, meatballs or sausage or eggplant or something, it's not that much money, you know. But I remember back then I vowed to say, you know what? If I want a topping on a pizza, I'm going to get it. You know?
Treat yourself, man.
Yeah, exactly.
They tell you, they always tell you psychologically, right? No matter what it is, in the adult world, when you have a job, treat yourself to something, no matter how
Yeah.
little it is.
Well,
Treat yourself to something. It's a psychological thing.
life is short. Life is short,
Right.
unfortunately. And I've learned in the last year, I've learned that I've been in sales my whole life, and the thing about sales is you're always go 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 go. It's
Right.
always go 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 go. And you know honestly, when I was getting close to retiring, and I could have worked another year or two, and maybe wanted to, because it's more money that I could save for the future. My body was not telling me it's time. You're just going through a lot of health stuff, and you gotta take it easy and take it slow, and maybe not having that stress from work will lighten you up for some people, they get retired and they're bored, and sometimes I'm a little bit bored, but I'm thankful that I have the love of sports.
Right.
Thankfully that I have my girlfriend, Terry, um, music. I mean, and I can control that, but like in the last year or so, I don't know. I've really enjoyed being retired, and I've also enjoyed being proud of myself to do the right things before retirement to be able to be retired, basically.
Uh, the people I consider friends are you guys all did the right things, and now you're living the what they say the twilight of our lives the right way.
Yeah.
Um, and I respect that greatly. And I think health wise, I think you look great. I saw you when you were sick. Saw you went through your shoulder stuff. And guys, I'm telling you, this man, I don't know how he did it. The pain, I can't handle pain. If I had pain in my shoulder anywhere, I'm the biggest wimp on this earth. I couldn't have a baby. My pain tolerance sucks. If I was in the military and they captured me, I'd give away all the secrets. No, you're gonna hurt me. No, come back. No, no. What do you want to know? What do you want to know? Just release me. But yeah, I just saw you with the shoulder stuff on top
Oh,
of everything else you went through, dude. You look good for
thank you.
everything you went through. I gotta tell you that you
Thank
look
you. I appreciate
good.
that. The last medicine that I got that I'm on now for the leukemia, one of the side effects was bone pain, and I started like a month or so into it. I started having different pain, shoulder, neck, back, all over the place, and I went to an orthopedic, and they were like, "Well, we can't give you shots everywhere. You got to do physical therapy." When I came back from physical therapy, and the shoulder was the worst, and then I went, then they ended up giving me shots, and then they ended up doing surgery for a small tear, and unfortunately, that surgery did nothing. I pushed for the surgery because I was in so much pain,
Right.
right? But the surgery didn't do shit.
Wow.
And and then I had to recuperate from the surgery. And as I'm
Right.
going through physical therapy, they were all
Right.
like, "You shouldn't still be in pain, Gary. You shouldn't still be in pain." And I finally got my oncologist to reduce my pills from four strong pills a day to two strong pills a day. And
Right.
then, that was a couple months ago. And you know what? I started feeling better.
Good
So
man.
I was taking Advil and Tylenol 3 times a day up to like 2 months ago, and now it's more like once a day.
Right.
Some days I take nothing, sometimes I take it twice, but mark it almost a third of what I was taking before for the pain. Because I'm like you, I guess I can't take pain either,
I
and
can't.
and that's another thing I realized. So many, I sometimes feel I'm not lucky, but I am lucky because there's people that are dying, and I'm fighting something that you can fight. And gosh, we're nobody's getting out of this alive, you know, and
Right.
and and I hope in the years to come that I'm I'm treating myself a little bit more, and my girlfriend, and whatnot, to enjoy. And on that
Right.
note, my it's a great year. My two boys are getting married this year.
Wow.
One's
Nice.
one's doing in Italy,
Oh
and, and
wow.
and I'm like, that's in June, and I'm so excited for that because I haven't gone away anywhere in forever. Because, like I
Right.
said, I don't spend a lot of money, right? And now, to be able to take Terry and be with my family for part of the trip and go away, and then
Right.
and then Dean, my youngest, is getting married in October, and he's local, which is great.
Right. Right.
So, and then my nephew's getting married also in between that. So it's a big year for both.
Congratulations, man.
Good stuff. A
So
lot of good
tell
stuff.
tell us, and I'll let you go after this.
Okay.
What's ahead for the dogs? I'm looking at the schedule here. I'm going to post it on my wall once we're done, so everybody has it. I see that you're at Huddy's on 418. That's the dogs. I
Yep.
like how you have it listed here, dogs and duos. So you do a lot of duos. But
Yes,
the dogs are at Huddy's on the 18th. Then the dogs again are at the Proving Ground on May 16th.
that's right.
I have the dog. You have a private party on Sunday the 24th. A wedding. I have a wedding
Yep.
on the 31st. The dogs again are at Lola's, formerly Blue Grotto, on Friday 6-5. I see the dogs on Thursday 6-11 at Donovan's Reef.
Yep.
7-10, July 10th, dogs are at Pat and Lola's, formerly Blue Grotto. And then on 7-12 on a Sunday, which Sunday at Huddy's is an awesome gig.
Yeah,
Awesome gig.
we're gonna have horns for that one
That'll be
too.
out. That'll be outside, man. On a nice Sunday night. Oh, that's beautiful. So that's just part of your schedule for July. So I'll post that on my wall. Is there anything else that we need to know about the dogs before I let you go? And I
Well,
want
I
to tell
was
you
gonna
right now,
say,
thank you for joining me.
to everybody that sees us, westenddogs.com, westenddogs.com. Take a picture of our schedule, and it's right there, and we'll update it as we go. But I'm also excited for the wedding that we're doing on the 31st. This will be our third wedding as a band, and it's funny. I think we do a great job for that. There's wedding bands out there, and God bless them. They charge a hell of a lot of money, and I'm not saying they're not worth it, because they probably are, but I consider us like a discount wedding band, because maybe
Right.
you're not getting everything that this wedding band is doing, but you're getting a lot of it. And oh, by the way, you can bank the difference, because we're not charging a fortune. But it's still exciting. You can make a lot of money playing weddings. Um, even if you're not getting top dollar, because it's just bands, bars don't pay what weddings pay. It's night and
Right.
day. You know,
Right.
um, but we have friends, and it's so funny. I'm meeting with the couple on Sunday to talk about songs that they
Right.
want to do, and it's kind of cool, because I'm like, oh, maybe we can add, because we can add songs. Maybe we can
Right.
add, maybe we can add a few pretty songs, because I like singing. I like singing pretty music. I just
There
do,
you go.
you know. But
Right. Right. Right.
anyway, George, listen, man, I thank you for having me tonight, and I really enjoyed talking with you. I can talk, right?
Hey man, so can I. I give people headaches for talking. They want to put a muzzle in my mouth. You know what I mean? But this is why I do this. This is fun, and it's
God bless.
growing. Thank goodness. And I have a lot of friends that are musicians. I respect all you guys. I think you're all great talents, and I come see you all play, and you entertain me. And you and I talk other shit too, about sports and everything else, which that's my niche, and I try to include that in my conversations with all you guys. But just before I let you go, I'm going to show you what I just did for you, and I love social media. If you can see that.
Oh, remember, I can't see it right now. I can't see
Oh,
it
that's right.
because I lost it, and if I press something else, I might lose
Yeah, I
everything.
sit here and I talk about two ears, right?
I'll be
That's
able to
right. You
see
can't
that.
see you can't see my ugly mug. I
No, it's funny.
forgot.
I saw it for most of the call, but I'll be able to see it on the replay. Um,
Okay,
and you know what, George? I want to say before you go, I want to say one thing to
go
everybody out
ahead.
there, and this is really, honestly, this is so simple, but there's so much divisiveness in our world right now, and there always is. It's not just right now. There's always this divisiveness. There's always, you know, the jealousies and everything else, whatever. Um, I'm not a religious person, but I want to say one thing that I've tried to teach my kids, and I try to live by myself, is the golden rule. Um, do unto others as you'd have others do unto you. I know that's a very simple thing to say, but honestly, I've gotten wherever I've gotten in life by being a nice person and being nice to people. And the beautiful thing is, most people are nice back. Not everybody. Not everybody. So don't freak out wondering why they're not nice to you, which is something I do every
Right.
once in a while. But
Look,
just it's a chance to say that, because if everybody lived by the golden rule, we'd have a much better society. You
you
know.
couldn't have said it any better. And I say this to people: we've lost respect. Seriously, our parents right now. My father, and then
Oh,
I'll let you go. My father would have ripped this phone, into a million pieces, and this computer. in a million pieces. And I know growing up, I had three different sets of parents that my father gave permission. If I got out of control, they could knock me on my ass. We had respect for our elders. And I think that's what we lost in society. That's as close as political I'll ever get on my podcast. We have lost respect for each other. And that to me is the problem.
I agree. Well, I mean, and part of that is not following the golden rule, because you want people
Correct.
to respect you, so you got to respect them.
You're exactly right. And I think that we're basically on the same page with that one. I mean, if everybody would do that, I think we'd be better off. I mean, if you talk politics, I say this to people. We used to vote and it was over. It was over. We got along.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? We did our thing and hung out together. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just crazy. So that's as far as I'll go with that on my podcast.
No, I think that's smart. You know, I think, and I wish you a lot of luck and success with this. I think it's awesome that you're doing it. It's just a great platform, and thank you, because you're helping guys like me to spread the gospel of the band or whatever, or the word. And you've had some other great talented people. And I know
you guys entertain us, man. This is what I do. I was a broadcaster for sports. Everyone asks me, you ever think about doing it of course I have. Well, why not utilize this platform in a positive nature, right? To do something that I'm good at.
You can do it. I mean, you start out with a good, smart brain, right? Which you have, and you have your opinions, and they're strong sometimes. But guess what? They want people that have opinions.
Look, it's where I'm from. I tell people that all the time. I mean, we are very opinionated. I'm loud naturally. That's a Philly thing. You know what I mean? I don't need a microphone to project my voice. It is what it is. And I am opinionated. I can piss people off. But look, with me, like with you or anybody else, what I associate with are people that are opinionated, that aren't going to bullshit me. You know what I mean? And that's just the way society is, where I was raised. So I appreciate you coming on with me, Gary. You guys, everybody, if you get a chance this summer, go see the West End Dogs. They are excellent. Excellent. Get out and see them. And Gary, thanks for joining me. And Terry, if Terry needs to vacuum my house, she can come over anytime. All right. I hear the vacuum cleaner in the background.
Oh, you're funny. And listen, thank you for having me. It was a joy. It was a lot of fun. And I wish you all the best, George. And
thanks, man.
All the success out there. And thanks everybody for listening in. I really appreciate it.
I'll talk to you, brother. All right. Thank you.
Take care.
Have a good night, man.
Good night now.